Made a card with the Amazing Year stamp set from the new Stampin' Up! Catalog that just started here last week, I guess it was. So this is from the new annual catalog. And like I said, it's a sweet little stamp set. It's one that you may not necessarily have noticed because it's just sort of, I don't want to say it's hidden, but it's, it's not really well showcased in the oops, sorry, there we go. I'm going to scoot your camera around a little bit. Not really well showcased in the catalog. So, but I love the little floral image. I love the sentiments in this one. So it's just a sweet stamp set, and I think you all should get it. So there. All right. So this is the card we're going to be making today. Hey, Bree, thanks so much for hopping in. And this is a stamp set. So again, it's kind of just a basic one. Got some good sentiments. There's birthday in here, a for you, to a wonderful friend. And then just, again, another happy birthday, and then an enjoy your day, which is what we're going to be using today. It is a cling mount stamp set, so that means it's a red rubber, and like I said, it's just a good stamp set. So, all right, so there you go. A couple other things that I used. Hey, Gina Marie, glad you're here. So one of the other things that I used, which hopefully you can see it okay on here, is the Painted Posies 3D embossing folder. This is one of those embossing folders that, again, just isn't shown very well in the catalog, and it's absolutely beautiful. So hopefully you can see it on the background of the card. It's amazing, and it's, like I said, it embosses. I don't know, I try to hold it in a spot where you can see it. Hopefully the light is catching it correctly. But it's a beautiful embossing folder. So if you don't have it, this again is another one of those, you just need to get it because, trust me on that. So, hey, Karen, thanks for joining. Glad that you're here. Then one other thing that I did use is the stitched Stylish Shapes, almost called Stitched Shapes. Goodness, that's the old die set. So this is the Stylish Shapes dies, which is another new die set from the annual catalog. And I use the largest of the circle dies in this one as well. So hey, Barbara, thanks for joining today. Glad everybody's here. Hopefully y'all are enjoying your Friday and having a good day. It's kind of an odd day. I thought it was supposed to be all sunny and warm here today, but it's not so much. So hey, thanks so much for hopping in. So glad you're catching me live from Florida as well. So, all right, one thing before we get going, if you are not currently a demonstrator, you definitely should join. So that's all I'll say. They have a really great starter kit promotion going on through the end of May, and you get $66.50 worth of free in-color merchandise with your starter kit if you join during May, which is awesome. Again, it's a great deal to join anytime, but it's a really great deal to join right now. So if you have questions about it or want to know more, let me know. If you join, your starter kit is $99 plus tax if that applies in your area. It ships to you for free. You get some business products in it and a pack of catalogs. So you get the new catalogs, you get the mini catalogs. You get this great set of in-color items, and then you get to pick $125 worth of whatever Stampin' Up! Merchandise you might like to get in your starter kit. So it is a great, great deal. And again, if you have questions, let me know. I have a lot of people on my team that are what I call happy shoppers that just basically join and get the discount for themselves. So there's no requirement to sell to anyone. No, we're not a pushy group. We're just a group that likes to hang out and stamp together. So let me know if you have questions on that. Again, I'd be happy to chat with you more about it if you do. So, all right. Hey, Gwen, thanks for hopping in from North Carolina as well. Okay, so let's get going on the card. I have got, again, if you didn't see it a second ago when I showed it, this is the Painted Posies 3D embossing folder, and I'm going to be embossing a piece of basic white cardstock. This is cut to about 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So again, all the measurements for this will be on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com. And again, trust the measurements on the blog, not necessarily what I say. I'm not going to say I say a lot of things wrong, but sometimes I start talking and I say numbers that don't make any sense. So, all right, Cindy's here as well. And Jeannie, thanks for hopping in today. All right, so if you did not know it, Stampin' Up! Has a nice little line along almost all of their embossing folders. And that helps you to line things up straight. Not that this image, this embossed image isn't necessarily that terribly important, that it's perfectly straight, but this will definitely help so you don't end up with something that's embossed like that, because I've done that before too, where it gets all sorts of crazy. So they have a nice line for us to make it easy. You can just line up the edge of your cardstock with a little solid line on the embossing folder, and you know that you're going to be basically straight when you emboss your panel. All right. Hey, Pamela, thanks for joining, and Diana from Ohio. For the sandwich for an embossing folder, this is one of the 3D embossing folders, so it's the thicker ones. You use the base plate, And then Stampin' Up! Has this cool specialty plate is what they call it. This comes with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but if for some reason you don't have a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, you have a different brand, you can actually purchase this, and it's only $10. And if you have the Stampin' Up! 3D embossing folders, I highly recommend that you get it. You'll get a good embossed image every time with it. So, all right, so let me run this through the die cutting machine. All right, so we've got that done. And hey, Terry, thanks for hopping in. I'm glad you like the card. And the embossing folder is definitely, I think, what makes the card. So I think it's beautiful, beautiful. All right, so we've got our panel embossed, and I'm just going to take that and adhere it to another panel of basic white cardstock. Apparently, I'm on like a white on white card kick because I feel like I've done one of those kind of, I don't know, a lot. So the next panel, the panel that I'm adhering it to, is cut to about 4 by 5 1/4. And just using the Stampin' Seal to stick the two together. And just going to try to line it up here so that I'm fairly straight. All right. Next up, I have got, and Karen is going to be so proud of me today. Hey, Kathy, thanks so much. I appreciate that. And Charlotte, I'm glad you're liking the card as well. So, Karen, you'll note what I have sitting over here. I finally remembered, probably only because this is thick, wide ribbon, and it's hard to cut with my little paper snips that I normally hack at my ribbon with, but I grabbed a pair of ribbon scissors that I have had in my drawer. So this is the Natural Finish 7/8 inch ribbon, and it is from the new catalog, and it is absolutely beautiful. It's a really good, nice texture on the ribbon. You can actually stamp on it if you want to. You can color it if you want to. It's just a really great ribbon, and it's really pretty, and I actually like it kind of just as it is. So obviously, otherwise I would have done something else with it. But all right, well, I thought this was my good ribbon scissors. Maybe it's not as good as I thought it was. All right, that'll work. Okay. Here, I thought I was going to be all like fancy and showing Karen my nice scissors, and I still kind of had to hack it. Apparently, I need to get sharper scissors or have someone sharpen my scissors. All right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to adhere it to the card front. Actually, I think I'm going to trim it down just a hair because I feel like I've got it a little too long. There we go. And on top of that, I kind of chopped it all up. So, all right, so I'm going to take Stampin' Seal and I'm just going to run it across first. And I'm going to adhere this part on. And again, I know I generally want it to be centered, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And a bunch of the center of this card is going to be covered up by the sentiment anyway. So if you get adhesive and get a little wild and crazy with it, it's okay because it'll be covered by the sentiment anyway. All right, so I took a little Stampin' Seal, adhered a little bit, and made a V with the ribbon. All right. I know I have ribbon scissors, but they weren't really any sharper. I'm telling you, I still ended up kind of hacking the ribbon up, but oh well, it's all good. So it is a great embossing folder. You definitely want to get one. So, okay, I have got a card base. This one is cut to 5.5 by 8.5 inches and scored at 4 1/4. My original card is a top fold one, just because that's my preferred card base, but I wanted to show you that it could work with either one. So whatever your preferred card base is, this card will work. And I've got some Stampin', my little chopped up Stampin' dimensionals that I'm going to adhere on the back of this panel, and we're going to adhere that to the card front. All right, let me pick the backs off those and throw them hopefully all in one place so they won't end up stuck all over my project, which they usually do, or stuck on the dog. So, all right, I'm going to take that and again, just going to adhere it to the front of a thick basic white card base. I've been using regular basic white for the rest of the card, but I do like the thick white for the card bases because it's a lot sturdier than the regular basic white cardstock is. All right, so next up, I've got, again, just regular basic white cardstock, and I have got the image from the Amazing Year stamp set. It's Amazing Year. I have to put an S on the end of it, so it's Amazing Year stamp set. And I have Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and I'm going to ink up the image in Tuxedo Black. And I'm lifting it up off my table. I wouldn't normally do that, but if because my ink pad needs to be re-inked and I didn't do it, I kind of have to smack it on the stamp pretty hard to get it to ink nicely. And if I did that on the table, you guys would be seasick by the time I get done with it. All right, so we're gonna take that and just stamp it on the basic white cardstock. It looks like we got a pretty good image. And then I'm gonna pull over some Stampin' blends, and I'm using some of the new in colors. So I have got Sweet Sorbet, and I'm gonna use the light one. And I'm just going to take it and basically color the flower centers and kind of, there's little sort of polka dotty images around the flowers, or around the flower center, and I'm just kind of coloring out a little bit onto the polka dotty images. It's very scientific, you'll see. And then I've got light and dark Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blends, and I'm just going to take the light first, and I'm just going over the whole image basically, and I'm even coloring over the top of what I colored on there with the Sweet Sorbet. So I kind of want to blend the two together a little bit. I'm trying not to way over blend it and end up with it, you know, turning completely orange, but wanted the two to sort of blend a little bit together. And again, I've got this is Daffodil Delight, if I forgot to say that, for the yellow color that I'm using on here. And getting there. And again, you'll see my fabulous coloring technique is just always awesome. So coloring a little bit, trying to blend the two just a little bit together. And if on the new plate, not certain would work. Oh, it will work with the old machine. So definitely, yes, and it will work with other brands as well. So I can't guarantee it'll work with every single brand, but most of the major ones out there that have the same size opening, hopefully that'll make sense when I say that. But anything that's got that kind of the standard size opening, it'll work in there. So, all right, so I've got dark Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blends marker that I am adding a little bit of dark ink around the centers and sort of following the edges of the leaves and some of the leaves that look like they're underneath a little bit. And then I'm going to take the light blends and just going to kind of flick over the top of it. And it's not, I don't really spend a lot of time blending, particularly on these types of images, because they, you know, they're fairly forgiving. And it's not really, I don't know, they look like flowers, but they're not like photorealistic flowers, if that makes sense. I kind of don't tend to spend a lot of time, waste a lot of time on my coloring. I just sort of make it, add a little color, make it look good to me, and then I go with it. All right, the final color that I've got here is one of the new in colors as well, and it's one of my favorite ones, and it is Parakeet Party. And I'm using the bullet tip ends on these. If you prefer the brush tip ends, you can definitely use those. Either one will work. I find that for me, particularly when I'm doing these little skinnier images, that the bullet tip end seems to work a little better for me. I feel like I have a little better control over it. So that's what I tend to use. And again, I'm using the light Parakeet Party first, just putting color sort of over. And here on the stems, I'm doing, you know, really detailed coloring, just basically scratching over them. So yeah, no, it's not detailed coloring at all. So again, this is one of those, if you're newer to coloring, flowers are generally very forgiving. And you know, you only need a couple colors. You can, you know, 3 or 4 colors, and you can kind of color most flowers that you want to color. So I'm coming back in with a little bit of the dark Parakeet Party, and again, not doing spending a lot of time thinking it over, just sort of putting on a little dark here and there to try to add a little bit of dimension to it. And then if there's anywhere where it looks a little strange or looks like I need to blend it a little bit more, which it looks like a couple of these places here on the leaves, maybe I need to do that because I didn't color them particularly perfectly the first time around. So just coming back in with the light and blend in a little bit together. And that's really all that, oh, I forgot to color the little band on the I think it's supposed to be ribbon, I'm not entirely sure, but I made it red. So I used the Sweet Sorbet to color that little tie on the flowers as well. So yes, the embossing plate will work with that machine, so definitely. So, all right, so I have got the largest of these Stylish Shapes circle dies, and I'm just going to put it around here. Now, if you're good at fussy cutting and enjoy that sort of thing, you could fussy cut this and put it onto another, you know, circle die cut, or just lay it directly on the card front, whatever your preference is. If you've watched my videos before, you will know that I'm rather a lazy stamper, and fussy cutting is just not my thing. I don't enjoy it. I find it very stressful. So I generally tend to, if I can cut it with a die, I'll cut it with a die. So this is the new magnetic plate from Stampin' Up, which is an awesome, awesome plate. It works with, you know, again, all the dies, and it will, you just use, I'm trying to say words in there I don't want to come out very well. So in order to use it, you've got your base plate here, and then you're going to put your magnetic plate directly on top of it. And then you put your die and your paper, and then you put a clear plate over the top, and you can run it through your die cutting machine like this. The entire top surface is magnetic, and the entire top surface is also self-healing. So it will last for a very good long time, and it's a very heavy, much better. We had an original magnetic plate a while back, and it didn't work as well. It was way too thin, and it kind of curled up into a bowl when you used it. This one is super thick and super heavy, and I haven't had any issues with it so far, and I've been cutting like a crazy person with it. So I love it, and I highly recommend it. And I think everybody should get one. If you don't have a magnetic plate, it's much better than some of the other ones, other brands that I've used, where it's got the little circular magnetic pieces all over the plate, because you end up kind of scooting your dies all over the place and trying to get things to stay where you want them to stay when you're die cutting, where this one is magnetic over the whole thing. So it works really, really well. So, all right, I'm using Stampin' dimensionals to adhere this to the card front. So I put the dimensionals down first because I didn't want them over the top of the ribbon. I wanted to make sure they were around the edges of the ribbon. And then I'm going to take this and I'm just going to adhere it. Hopefully I got it fairly centered to the card front. Then the last thing on the card front is I used a couple of the 2022 to 2024 in color matte decorative dots. And I'm just going to kind of pick 3 of them off here and just sort of stick them around the card front, around the embossed image, and over here on the little kind of main focal panel. So that's it for the card front. Super simple. And like I said, I love this image. I love this stamp set. So hopefully y'all do too. On the inside of the card, I kept it as well, pretty simple as well. Just using the, I gotta reach for my stamp, Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and again, that same floral image. And I'm just gonna kind of ink it up here. I'm not even gonna try to ink up the whole image. I'm just gonna ink up about half of it. And I will stamp it here and hopefully get it. I just want a little peek of the flowers basically in the corner of it. So that's what I'm aiming for, and I think I got that. And then I'm going to take those same colors and just going to do the same coloring that I did on the card front. But obviously this is just the inside of the card. So I'm going to do a little scratchy coloring on the flower centers. And then I'm going to take my, so that was Sweet Sorbet. And then I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight and do the scratchy coloring on the leaves. Leaves. These are petals, Amy. So one of these days I'll get all the flower pieces right. Probably not ever. Don't ask me what kind of flowers these are supposed to be because I do not know. I am not a flower expert. I just say they're pretty, and that's the kind of flowers they are. So I'm sure it's very helpful. So, all right, so I've got light Daffodil Delight that I've colored in most of the flowers with, and then I'm going to come back with a dark, and going to grab the bullet tip end here as well, and just add a little bit of dark Stampin' or dark Daffodil Delight to the flower petals. And again, just sort of putting a little bit here and there, not spending a lot of time, not overthinking where I'm putting it, just getting the color on the paper. And then I'll come back in with a little bit of the dark and blend them together. I'm glad you like or a little bit of the light to blend the dark together is what I tried to say. Glad you're liking the card. Like I said, I've kind of been on a white on white kick, I feel like, and I don't know, I love the look of that, love the simplicity of it as well. So I'm glad you're liking the design. It's a really easy stamp set to use, so it doesn't take a whole lot of brain power to figure out pretty cards with it. So that's my kind of stamping. And then I've got Parakeet Party for the final color here. And again, just gonna put a little bit, starting with the light and coloring in the leaves. And then we'll come back in with a little bit of the dark. And we're going to be all done with the card. So next week, actually, I think that I am probably not going to be able to go live on Tuesday on my Facebook page. So I apologize about that, but we have a little school thing going on with my younger daughter, and so I don't think it's going to work out very well for me to go live that day. But I will plan to be back live on my YouTube channel next week, Friday, around 2 o'clock Eastern time, so you can plan to see me then. And if I'm able to sneak in another video out on Facebook at some point, I will let you know when that will be. But just looking at next week's schedule, I'm not sure it's going to be very possible. Things get a little crazy. We're getting towards the end of the school year, and all sorts of things are happening. So, all right. So that's it for the card. So this is the one we made today. This is the one I made ahead of time. A super simple card. I think it's pretty. I love the flower image. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the video, and hopefully you like the card. That's all that I got for today. Again, don't forget about the joining special. If you're not a demonstrator, this is a great time to join. Brand new catalog. Get the discount on all the stuff yourself. Again, let me know if you have questions. I'd be happy to chat with you more about it. So thanks for joining today. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all next